Barnsley means a lot to me, my hometown. I've always lived here and always been proud to live here.
What are you having?
A bag of sweets.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thanks, your love.
Pleased to meet you.
I never refused a selfie. Someone said to me, they've never known anybody get stopped as much for selfies as you do, Dickie.
Morning, Dickie.
Are you all right, lad? The great commentator, Richie Benno, said, do you mind being called Dickie? You know, because he always called me Harold, because my name's Harold Dennis Bird. I said, no, I don't mind. I said, you can't forget a name like that, can you, Dickie Bird? You can't forget a name like that. I was born on April the 19th, and the year was 1933.
In Lancashire and Yorkshire, ever since the world began, this is the expression of a strong and silent man. He by gum, he by gum. The only thing he ever says is he by gum.
This statue is exactly the spot where I was born. There was a row of old houses here, and they're not here now anymore, of course. And it's the exact spot where my house was. It brings back some, shedding a few tears. Because my mother lived to see me umpire, but my father never saw me umpire. But he saw me play for Yorkshire, so he did see me play county cricket. That was nice. But yeah, I'm shedding a few tears. My father and mother, tremendous people. Myself and my two sisters always came first in their life.
The falling leaves drift by my window, the autumn leaves of red and gold.
Earliest memories playing cricket with my father in the small park at the side of where we lived. My father used to come home from the mines, Montbreton Colliery, for hours. He used to bowl at me. We always bowled downhill. That's in the summer, and in the winter, of course, we had football out. And I remember this yesterday. I could see my dad running in there, running down and bowling at me. Wonderful days. Wonderful days. My father worked in an 18-inch seam. He'd go into the coalface on his stomach. His trousers would come off as he was crawling into the coalface, and then he'd come when he finished his shift. On the way back out, he'd pick his trousers up. Times were very, very difficult, but we always had a good table. And we always went to church on a Sunday. My mum and dad always made sure that we went to Sunday school in the afternoon, church service in the evening. My dad went on his way. He'd give his last penny to make sure I had a football, make sure I had a cricket bat.
When Barnsley are visited by Blackburn Rovers in the half and half shirts,
He used to take me down to watch Barnsley football when I was 4 or 5, and I'd be on his shoulders at the Spine Cop, and I always remember that, watching Barnsley play on a Saturday.
Barnsley are soon on the offensive again.
My father said to me when I was 14 years of age, you're going to play sport for your living, you're not going down that coal mine like I've gone down. You see, my father went down at 13 years of age, and he retired at 65. He died because of dust on his chest. The doctor said to me, your father's got a wonderful body by working down the mines, but inside in his heart, shattered.
Till the end of time.
As a youngster, I went to Burton Road Primary School, and then of course we went to Rayleigh Secondary Modern School. We had Arthur Rowe, who was a great character, who was a shot putter. He went to the Olympic Games, he went to pieces in the game, bag of nerves, and he could hardly throw the shot. But you get him in a local park or a local, you know, on a local football ground, he'd throw it out of the ground. Then we had a lad called Benson, who was a 100-yard sprinter. And then, of course, with Tommy Taylor, who went on to play for Barnsley. Then he went to Manchester United.
Only a minute to go, and England stage a final assault, which brings yet another goal from Tommy Taylor, clinching England's 8th consecutive Wembley victory.
He was two-footed. He was quick. He was good in the air.
And Taylor finds the net.
I used to chip the ball for him, and he used to rise high, bang, with his head. Brilliant header. He was the best header of a ball I've ever seen. His father and my father were friends. They worked at the same coalface down Mount Brecon Colliery. They always talked about which lad was the best lad. Because my father used to say me, and Tommy's father used to say him, Tommy Taylor. I always remember Matt Busby and Jimmy Murphy signed him in the local cinema in Barnsley. I think they paid 29,050p for Tommy. Those were the days. I remember saying to my colleague who I played with Yorkshire, I opened the innings with him, Ken Taylor, who also played for Huddersfield Town at football. I said to Ken, who was the best centre forward you played again? He said, there's only one. He said, your mate, Tommy Taylor.
And Tommy Taylor heads a beauty.
He said he had pace, two-footed, brilliant in the air. What more do you want?
On the fringe of a Munich airport lies the wreckage of an airliner, still smouldering from a crash in which 21 people were killed.
Tommy Taylor lost his life in the Munich air disaster. I went to his funeral, and there were 13,000 people at his funeral in Barnsley. Crowded the street. That's how much they thought of him. Yeah, thought a lot about him.
Dream, 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 dream.
If it hadn't been for my right knee, I'm confident that I'd have made it to football. I'm confident.
And I want you.
Tommy and myself signed for Barnsley together from school. Angus Seed looked after us. We finished training one Tuesday evening down at Orwell. He said, oh, Dickie, I want you to go and play for YMCA because our match has been abandoned. We should have played Hull City at Barnsley Park in the Northern Interleague side. And I went and played and I damaged the right knee. And that's when I decided to stick to cricket. I thought to myself, well, cricket will give me a longer life than football. Because I played for Barnsley first team when I was 15. And because the three of us started at the same time for Barnsley Cricket Club, Michael Parkinson, Geoffrey Boycott and myself all together started at the same time. And there was a time when Michael Parkinson kicked Geoffrey Boycott out of the team.
Sweet, sweet memories you gave me.
I must have done well at Barnsley. Then I was invited to the Yorkshire Nets.
One fresh and tender kiss.
And in 1956, I played my first game for Yorkshire.
One stolen night of bliss.
memories you gave me.
Do you know, it only seems like yesterday that I walked through the gates, those main gates there, for my first practices with Yorkshire. You know, to walk through the gates at Headingley, you got that buzz. I remember we played truant from school, and I came here for the 1948 Australian side. The Australians played England here in the Test.
Every foot of spectator space is taken up at Headingley, the bogey ground of England Test cricket, as Bradman leads his Invincibles onto the field.
Some great players played that day. And next day, when we got back to school, the headmaster at Rayleigh School was called Dickie Bird, and he gave us 6 of the rest, 6 wasps on our backsides for going and watching England play the Test match. We had a great side at Yorkshire, a tremendous side. In 1958, we finished near the bottom of the championship table, but in 1959 we won the championship. But I was in and out. I got 191 not out. I dropped next match. 191 not out. I thought, well, surely they'll pick me. And Sellers called me in the dressing room at Bradford Park Avenue. I'm taking my pads off. And he said, well, get the head down, Birdie, there ain't second team next match. I said, thank you very much, Mr. Sellers. I'm so proud to be part of a great Yorkshire squad. I think it was 8 weeks after I'd got that big score of 191 not out. I played against Hampshire at Bournemouth, I got 86, and then I was left out again. It was Willie Watson what pestered me to go down, because he was captain of Leicestershire. Eventually I went and signed for Leicestershire. And in my first year I got 1,400 runs, and that's when I got my cap. After I left Leicestershire, I went down to Devon. I coached at Plymouth, the public school, in the week, and I played professionally for Paynton. You know, it was funny. I was having a drink in the bar. He just said to me, he said, have you ever thought of becoming an umpire, Dickie? And I laughed at him. I said, you must be joking. He said, I'm serious. You make a good umpire. I said, well, I think I'm contented now here. I'm 32 to 33, and I went home and I thought he might have something in that.
I love the colourful clothes you wear.
Had you never thought about umpiring before?
Yeah, I never even thought. And he signed 18 on the Test match panel.
I hear the sound of a gentle wind on the wind that lifts her perfume through the air. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the
Do you remember your first Test match?
Yeah, first Test match was at Headingley. I got to the ground my first morning of the Test match. I couldn't get in the ground. All the gates were locked. I was there before the ground staff. Eventually they let me in. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning, starting at 11:30. And I sat in the football rugby stand in there for, I don't know how many hours. I just sat there waiting, you know, amazing. I thought I'd better get there early. I must have done well because on the Test match panel all those years. The 3 medals here, they've got 3 World Cup final medals. I did the first World Cup, 1975, the first World Cup final, West Indies, Australia. At the end of the Test match, the crowd came on at Lord's, oh, the thousand, we couldn't get off the ground. I had a police escort to get off the ground, and I always used to have a box of white caps sent every year, they made for me, And one big West Indies supporter, he pinched my white cap. Well, I never saw it again, but I didn't see it again. Some years after, I was on a London bus. Big West Indies conductor came round. Fares please, fares please. And I looked at him. I said, that looks like a white cap. He said, haven't you heard of Mr. Dickie Bird, a great man? This is one of his white caps. I pinched it off his head in the 1975 World Cup final. I didn't say anything. I did 196 internationals. That's one-day internationals, test matches.
Why do you think you made a good umpire?
I think number one is because I played the game. It's a tremendous advantage to have played the game. By playing top cricket for my living and going into umpiring, you've been through it all yourself as a player. You understand. They worked it out. If I was umpiring today with so many test matches, I'd do 500 tests.
How did you feel when you retired?
I was umpiring test matches at 66 years of age. I went to see them at Lord's. I said, no, I think I want to go out at the top. I wanted to do it at Lord's as well, my last test match. And my last county match, I wanted to do it at Headingley. And I did that. Yeah. We walked through the long room where, of course, all the members were stood on their feet. They gave me tremendous, amazing, going through the long room, all the gentlemen. And then I went down the members' enclosure. The crowd erupted. When I walked out of the field, there was both sides lined up, India and England. And all the crowd stood, full house at Lord's, all the crowd stood. Well, I just shed a few tears. And it was an amazing send-off. Marvellous, marvellous. I just broke down in tears. I certainly miss it. I certainly miss the playing. Because that Yorkshire dressing room in my day, with Freddie Truman and some greats. I miss all that. Certainly miss that.
She said, oh, hi, nice to meet you tonight. Maybe we could go dance, get up off our feet. She said, this life ain't forever.
How you going on?
All right, Dino.
Play it on repeat.
Cricket opened many doors for you though, didn't it? Not least Buckingham Palace.
The first one what she took to me was the Queen Mother. She invited me to go to Clarence House and have lunch with her. And I had a magnificent day with the Queen Mother. She said, "You're my favourite cricket man," she said. "You're my favourite." She said, "I always know it's you, Dickie, when you white cap." And she was the first. And then, of course, the Queen. I was sat here one November day, and the phone rang there on the day, and I answered the phone, and this voice said, "This is the Master of the Household ringing from Buckingham Palace. I have been commanded by Her Majesty the Queen to see if you are available to have lunch with her on such and such a day, Mr. Bird." I said, "If I've been invited to have lunch with the Queen at Buckingham Palace, I'll walk it from Barnsley," I said. He said, "The invitation will follow," and it did. I had to arrive at Buckingham Palace at 1 o'clock for lunch. And I arrived outside the palace gates at 8:20. The attendants on the gate said, "Well, we've got to have the changing of the guard. We've got to have that, and we can't stop that for Dickie Bird." So I know a little coffee shop right corner from Buckingham Palace. I went in, sat in this coffee shop for hours. Then I went through, and that was the best day of my life. There was just the Queen and myself there. We had a marvellous lunch together. Then she said, "We'll go sit in the lounge, Dickie." We went and sat in the lounge at Buckingham Palace, the Queen and I. Best day of my life. Greatest day of my life. She gave me the MBE in 1986, and then the OBE in 2000. 12, yeah. I've got the freedom of the city. That's a big honour, isn't it? Freedom of the city, yeah. Yeah, means a lot to me, that. Coming from my own town means a lot to me.
Do you know what you can do because of that?
Well, you can walk my sheep through the town and let them graze on the grass in front of the town hall. The farmer said to me, I'll get you some sheep, let's do it, but I wouldn't do it. When I was president, back-to-back championships, Yorkshire. That was a big honour for me to become president of Yorkshire. But those 2 years, of course, were probably two of the best years of my life. A coal miner's son to be asked to be president of Yorkshire. I never thought I'd become president, but I was.
It's been an incredible life, Dickie. Do you have any regrets?
Yeah, I've got one regret that I didn't get married. I should have got married, but I didn't think it would be fair to a woman when I was going all over the world. I didn't think it could work, and I've regretted not having a family. That's one regret I have. That I never had a family, because I think I'd made a good father. You know, if I had a little lad, little girl, oh, be my world. And if he'd have played sport, that would have made it all the better, wouldn't it? You know, if I go in one day to see him play for Yorkshire, that's the only regret I've got in my life.
Do you ever get lonely?
Yeah, you do at times in here, but because you live on your own, and when you live on your own, it's not easy. It's not easy when you're living on your own, I'll tell you now. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy it. It keeps me going. And you look back on your life and you think, I haven't had a bad life really. Seen the world and met some good people. Prime Minister, kings, queens. I never thought I'd do that when I was a schoolboy. Son of a coal miner. It's been amazing.
How would you like to be remembered, Dickie?
I'd like to remember that I've always tried to be honest and fair. My father and mother always told me that, to be honest and fair. Be sociable and kind to people. I'd like to be remembered for things like that, you know. To get into your 90s, as they say, you've done well. I don't know, I'll try and keep going as long as I can, I'll tell you now. I've always been a fighter, and same as I say, I'll take some wonderful, wonderful memories with me. Wonderful.